Twisha Christian, I wanted to bring your attention, and it doesn't matter where you live, because what I'm getting ready to discuss actually affects every single country. And one of the things that, as I was doing just doing general research, and it was something that we discussed before, is something that I've heard over and over again from Johnny Currency 365 about the Basel agreements. And I'm just going to read what the Basel III is. Now, what was supposed to happen, gold was supposed to become a reserve asset when Basel III was implemented. And we saw it back in 2008 and 9 when they got together to come up with these solutions to the banking industry, because anytime there's a crisis, some of the banks fall, and they wanted to strengthen the banking sector during a crisis. And one of the things that has happened is that the third part of this, which is the most important, has not been implemented. Now, they came up with these agreements in 2010, right? And they've delayed it and delayed it and delayed it. And just keep in mind that the banking system right now, it's very corrupt. You saw what's happened with the stimulus, the small business loans, and you see a whole lot of other things that are going on in the banking system. Basel III is a 2009 international regulatory accord that introduced a set of reforms designed to mitigate risk within an international banking sector by requiring banks to maintain proper leverage ratios and keep certain levels of reserve capital on hand. Basel III was rolled out by the Basel Committee on Bank Supervision, then a consortium of central banks from 28 countries shortly after the credit crisis of 2008. Although the voluntary implementation deadline for new rules was originally 2015, the date has been repeatedly pushed back and currently stands at January 1st, 2022. Now, if you guys want to do some more research on that, go ahead and look it up. Just type in BASEL 3 and all the information will come up. This was supposed to help the world economy during a crisis, and it's supposed to help the banking system also during a crisis. From what I understand, this was supposed to take place between 2013 and 2015. This thing has been delayed, and you got to remember who the previous administration was. But when it came to Basel III, they put it off. Now, Basel III was supposed to make gold a reserve asset, from what I understand. And that's very big, because we've discussed gold a lot on this channel. You saw there were bank buying sprees back starting in 2009, right? We saw that, and then it continued on for several years, and then we saw it again. So now, when I just happened to be looking, and it says that they are going to delay here. This is the response from the actual BIS. So now they're delaying everything until 2023. Which is absolutely ridiculous, because all this stuff happened back in 2008, and they're still not talking about doing this for. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, you're talking 13 years plus, and in the 13 years, the banking system couldn't get themselves together, and so this is troubling. This is why when the banks fall, this is one of the reasons why we should not bail them out. Bail in, bail out. And I'm going to get into another video about that. But they did not do what was necessary to protect the citizens of this world with the type of banking system that they have, and implement these rules. And here they give their excuse, because of the virus, and they're going to delay it even longer. Now, and like I said, one of the things that it was supposed to happen, will Basel III changing of gold status as a reserve asset for banks change the future? This was June 14th, 2019. So that's what was supposed to happen. And this says here, the Bank of International Settlements under Basel III changes status of gold as a reserve asset effectively on April 1st, 2019. But they delayed it. They delayed it in 2013. They delayed it in 2014. They delayed it in 2015. And guess what? We had an election. And after the election, they continued to delay it again and again and again. And now they're using this excuse to delay it again. Because maybe they thought if this system crashes under the current president of the United States, and this is just my opinion, that they could use this against them in an election in 2020. Because why else wouldn't you do this? I mean, if you had such a bad crisis, you would have made sure and done everything that was possible to make sure that that was implemented as soon as possible. Okay, so when the election took place in November of 2016, right? 6 years later, they still had not implemented that. And then you have 2017, and then you have 2018, 2019, all year long, that whole year, and yet they didn't do it. So I find this troubling, and I think that when the system falls, that definitely for sure, it shouldn't be the taxpayers in any country that you live in should be bailing these people out. And it doesn't matter what country you live in. You as a taxpayer should not be bailing the banks out when it does crumble. So because of this Basel III was not implemented as it should, and because of what's going on now with the economy, it was supposed to help buffer all those things that we're going through right now with the economy. So the economy shouldn't be as affected as it is right now. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and they are delaying this until January 2022. So we've discussed the gold standard. We've discussed how the President of the United States wants it, and some of his picks for the Federal Reserve Board also want the gold standard. So I think that's something that is coming down the line. It's not something that's going to take us completely out of debt. It might help out with some of the debt, but it's going to help stabilize our economy, especially through rough times. As far as the X and the P, from my last video, you guys have a lot of interesting things, and no one has yet mentioned the one thing that I discovered about this new energy source. So keep in mind there are 5 new energy sources. So some of them I believe have been discovered already, and some of those you can't even invest in right now. And also too, I'm going to give an update on Ludacris. I found something that was very interesting that just came out today. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. And with that being said, Twisted Christian out.